But Marc, I feel like you barely need an introduction. You have held various roles at Unilever. And, for me, I guess your name is pretty synonymous with the movement that Unilever has been making sort of for well over a decade now towards sustainability, and alongside this, engaging really intensely with suppliers to build out your supplier ecosystem. And so I'm looking forward to picking your brains about what this journey has looked like and now where you guys are and what the next steps are going to be. But you started with Partner to Win, and now you have launched your new program called Partners with Purpose. Could you tell me a little bit more about this program and what the sort of big goals are for it?
Yeah, no, thanks, Caitlin, and thanks very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Partner to Win is now 10 years old. We launched it in 2010 because we very clearly saw that we needed a different way of engaging our suppliers into our growth journey. And it's been 10 years running. It's been a big success. It was all about driving mutual growth, but it was with an exclusive group of partners. And it was around innovation, sustainability, capacity, cost savings, etc., etc. And, it was very successful, but we recognized, of course, that the world in 2021 has changed and continues to change. And so we realized that we needed a more diverse ecosystems of partners to deliver our growth by let's say, responding to new consumer trends and needs. And so, it's the fact from moving to a select group of large suppliers to, let's say, an ecosystem of diverse suppliers, large ones, garage ones, startups, etc., because of the changing needs, because essentially our consumers want to see companies and brands step up and actively engage in addressing today's most urgent and deep-seated social and environmental challenges, and not just pay them lip service. So the reason why we relaunched Partner to Win in Partner with Purpose is to basically saying, we partner around the big issues in society and in the world, not just on our own issues, but how do we really fulfill that consumer demand? And how do we keep that relevant? And we have enlarged the base of suppliers from 150, let me call it, of our largest and most important suppliers, to also include a more open system from big multinationals to small local producers to garage to startups, etc., etc.
I love how you're starting to talk about needing a far more diverse sort of set of suppliers, and how you sort of defined it already by talking about how they could look completely different from one to the next. Have you also found that you're looking for a diversity in what it is that they do and how they solve problems, potentially even what problems they're trying to solve? Are you kind of looking a lot further afield than you may have in the past?
Absolutely, 100%, Caitlin, because, we have always said that, 70% of our innovations come from suppliers, and that has always been the case. It's always been a very large part of ideas, whether that's about active ingredients or product deliverables, etc., come from suppliers. But with consumers having higher demand, not just on the functionality or the performance of products, but also, let's say, what does it do to the planet and what does it do to society? You need those diverse ideas from suppliers. You really need, let's say, more diverse ideas. And the best way to get more diverse ideas is to create more diversity of your suppliers. We basically really realized that, and we've recently announced that we're going to spend 2 billion euros of our spend, which is roughly 10% of the money that we spend on raw and packaging materials, in diverse suppliers. And that's not charity, or that's not, let's say, because we think these people need help. There is, of course, an element to that. But the main thing is it's good business. because you get different ideas. You get people looking at ideas differently and coming up with better innovations and better business ideas. So it is totally true what you're saying, and it just makes good business sense, to be honest.
I completely agree with you. You know, I think that we're long past the stage of needing to make a business case for supporting sustainability. And as you were saying a little bit earlier, you know, Unilever has always made commitments to supporting what is important to their consumers and really wanting to address those same needs and interests that their consumers have. But you know, I think that there is still quite a long way to go for a lot of organizations to actually build up their capabilities internally to achieve these goals. Perhaps you could talk a little bit about this. I think it's so exciting that you've made this announcement of spending that €2 billion with your diverse set of suppliers. But, you know, based on your experience in the past with Partner to Win and now on this new journey that you're going on, how is Unilever going to sort of support the shift internally that will require that?
Yeah, no, look, it's a very interesting question. And the first thing you need to start is that you need to go from a mindset in your procurement department, particularly, that because Unilever is big, suppliers should be happy that they can do business with Unilever. And you need to swap that around completely. I think we called it 10 years ago that buying is the new selling, because it's actually very important that you become the partner of choice for suppliers. And how do you become partner of choice? Well, first of all, having a winning business, of course, is very important, because nobody wants to join a losing team. So let's say being very clear about where you want to go and winning in the marketplace is important for people to want to join you. But there is also things around being very transparent and very openly sharing business strategy, consumer insights. So, you know, you don't let the important suppliers just talk to the procurement people, but, you know, we give them access to our marketeers, to our R&D people. We build relationships top to top. You know, and those relationships allow us to share capabilities and to co-innovate. We have many suppliers where they have implants into our operations and we have implants into their operations. And, you know, if I can mention two examples, you know, the specialty chemicals company Evonik, that has helped us with launching it in Chile. We've tried this out, a dishwashing liquid brand called Quicks. It was actually the first household cleaning product that only contains 100% renewable and biodegradable foaming ingredient known as a rhamnolipid. You know, they had that idea for a while. We basically put that together, and that's now in the market. Or, you know, a very different example around partnering for purpose is Wunderman Thompson. They worked with Unilever to redesign our iconic Lux bar. It's a soap bar in India, to have a visible lump on the bar. And, you know, what you say, well, what does that mean? Well, it's actually a lump is the most indicative sign of one of the most common signs of breast cancer. And so we with them, we created the soap with a lump, which does not integrate with use until the very end. And basically what we found is that it serves as a daily trigger for self-examination. That's a typical example of partnering with purpose, because it's not just about product functionality, but it really is around, let's say, tackling some of the societal issues, in this case, breast cancer, and the need for self-examinations to catch it early. You know, those are some of the examples. And the last one I wanted to mention is a partnership with SABIC and Plastic Energy, that where basically we've been able to develop new tubs for our Magnum ice cream using totally chemically recycled polypropylene plastic. You know, it's the world's first food brand, because actually recycled plastics is very difficult to use in foods, if you know something about that. But it's the first food brand to pioneer this groundbreaking technology. And in 2020, we're selling 7 million of those tubs. And so those are some of the key issues. But it's incredibly important that you realize that you're not buying, but you're selling the company to basically powerful suppliers who have a lot of capability and a lot of choice on where they're taking their innovations. And that essentially you need to realize that when you engage with these suppliers, then you make the most of it.
Those three examples are actually absolutely incredible, and they all stand out within themselves as brilliant innovations. I think the Lux bar of soap is such a fantastic one for reminding ourselves that solving a consumer need is the primary function of why we're all together and wanting to work together, which is just so cool. But also with Quicks and then the Magnum ice cream tubs, I loved what you were saying about, really needing to sell yourselves as the customer of choice to your suppliers, because of course it is their R&D that you're going to be utilizing to bring these incredible innovations to the fore. What role has your leadership played, so yourself, anybody else within Unilever, to really help to power that kind of customer of choice mentality within your organization?
No, it is a big cultural change, because traditionally procurement departments, people think they exist to save money and to get the lowest cost. And certainly 10 years ago at Unilever, that is probably where we were. But we've been now 10 years into this journey, and over time, the people that join our teams, they really get this, and they want to join because essentially they're not motivating of a lifetime of creating more cost savings, but they really want to get the best out of these partners. So over time, when you set a very clear vision that this is what you want to do, you then essentially get the talent to realign and to take pride, and it comes naturally now. So the first question in any of our teams now is not, well, what does this cost? But no, what can it deliver? What can it deliver for the consumer? What is the unique point that it can give you that basically will make this product or this launch a success in the marketplace? And it's been a journey, and we are never perfect. The journey is never finished. But it is very clear that, let's say, leadership and behavior and the consistency of the behavior, right from the top of the organization to the everyday interactions with suppliers. Because the worst thing you can do is to have a great spiel and a story at the top of the organization, but in the day-to-day, suppliers are not feeling it. So consistency of the message, of the behavior is incredibly important here.
I couldn't agree with you more. I sound like a stuck record, because I probably say about 5 times a day that how you communicate will determine whether or not you achieve your goals. And it's that consistency of messaging that will be so important to filter down into your organization and then out into your suppliers. But we have a couple of questions, and there's one that I thought was particularly relevant now, which is if there are kind of any business impact quantified metrics that you might be using when you're engaging with your suppliers. Because of course, it's one thing to say, we want these ideas, we want a diverse supplier base, we want to access your R&D, but not all of them are going to be relevant or useful. How do you manage this on a day-to-day basis, especially for an organization as large as Unilever?
Yeah. No, I mean, we have a large team, of course. It's not that, we have 150,000 employees, and many of us are involved in this. And so we also, we realize that not everything will succeed. But what we have really moved to with partnering with purpose is, we used to have a lot of one-to-one relationships with suppliers. But actually, if you take a liquid detergent, it is actually the various components that work together. It's the combination of enzymes or polymers or actives, etc., that work together. So what we are doing with partnering with purpose, we're actually not having a one-to-one relationship, but we have a multi-relationship with the 3 or 4 partners that deliver the different components. And actually, when they start to work with each other, and we sit in the room and they start to build on each other's expertise, that's when you really start to make a lot of progress in terms of getting the best out of those partnerships. So I think that is also the next level of where you can go. Now, of course, you always need to you have finite resources, so you need to make choices. We're also trusting, therefore, our suppliers more. I think 10, 15 years ago, we will probably have the view that, well, in R&D, we know best, and we just tell you what to deliver us. And I think, there's a big realization, and also for the financially sound people here, you're going to pay for the supplier's R&D cost because it's in their overheads, and whether that's 10% or 5% or whatever, but you're going to pay for the cost. The question that you need to ask is, are you getting the R&D, the best of the R&D for what you're paying? Because you're going to pay anyway. So the question is not to look, is the price good enough? Am I paying too much? It is, what R&D are you actually getting for what you have paid? And I think that is the challenge that our procurement teams live and excel in, day out.